All right. Welcome back to the NetSuite Podcast, SuiteWorld Edition. We are back here after Evan Goldberg's keynote address, and we're going to be talking to Evan Goldberg in just a moment. But first, a word from our sponsor.
I want to tell you, Chris, about Avalara. Now, managing tax in NetSuite, it doesn't have to slow you down. And with Avalara, it doesn't. Avalara brings AI-powered tax automation directly into NetSuite. So every calculation, every exemption, every return is accurate, auditable, and effortless. With intelligent automation, back to that again, not just normal automation, okay? Intelligent automation, woven into every touch point in the compliance journey. Avalara's agentic tax and compliance, it detects issues, it resolves them, and it helps you stay ahead of constant rule changes. With more than 4,200 NetSuite customers and over 1,400 signed partner integrations, Avalara delivers trusted, regulator-ready, got to be careful of those regulators, compliance at scale. Avalara for NetSuite, intelligent compliance everywhere you work.
Wow.
You sold?
I am. Thank you, Fritz, and thank you, Avalara. Fantastic. Well, Evan, it is wonderful to have you on the podcast today. During your keynote today, you said NetSuite Next is the biggest thing to happen to NetSuite in its 27-year history. And I couldn't agree more. I've been here these whole 27 years with you. What do you think it means for the future of NetSuite, and what does it mean for our customers?
Yeah, well, I mean, just from a technology perspective, this is obviously, I think pretty obviously, the biggest change that's come along since the advent of the internet. And I think we would be remiss if we didn't say, how are we going to transform ourselves in this time of great technology transformation to make sure that our customers get the most out of it? And I think you could see from what I showed today that we're putting AI at the center of every single thing we do. It's not something that we're sort of bolting on to our existing capabilities. We're reimagining, reinventing everything in NetSuite with an AI-centric perspective. So that's the future.
Well, I need to just jump into the past for a minute. We showed this in an earlier podcast, this photo of you guys and a couple other fellas. Did you ever buy an Argyle sweater like that, Evan?
No, I think Chris was mostly the one sporting the Argyles.
Little Charlie Brown kind of action going on there.
Yeah, but it's true. Chris has a fantastic perspective on everything that's happened over the years. It's been a wild ride, and it continues to be that way. And it's fun to be able to work with people like Chris, like you, Fritz, as we navigate these new uncharted waters.
Do you have any good story? I mean, you guys are drinking 40-ounce Bureaus, I think.
Yes, definitely. We only coated and tested with non-alcoholic beer.
That's the best way.
Yeah, generally.
No bad code that way.
Yeah, pretty much it helps, yeah. I think sobriety is a good starting point.
So we talked about how NetSuite, and you talked on stage about how NetSuite started out being cloud native, which honestly was a big bet at the time. Nobody else was really doing it. People don't know, Salesforce came later. But now NetSuite's all in on AI. What are some of the parallels from now to back then in terms of big bets, getting people to buy in, anything like that?
Yeah, well, the challenge for a company like ours with a storied history and a way of doing things that we developed over many, many years is that when there's this kind of tectonic shift, you really risk, missing the boat because you're not willing to look at every single thing that you do and figure out how it's impacted. I think there in 1998 we were able to, start from scratch and we were inventing a lot of things on the fly. So I think a difference is obviously we're not starting from scratch, But a similarity is that we are inventing things on the fly. I mean, it's just necessary when the changes are coming so fast. And what's important to us is that we get everybody at our company and everybody outside our company that has a stake in NetSuite, our partners and our customers, thinking with that AI first mindset. And certainly it starts with SuiteWorld, and that's how we hope people are coming out of my keynote and coming out of the sessions that they go to, thinking AI first.
And we talked in an earlier podcast about um, some of the fundamental things that NetSuite started using in those days in the cloud, not necessarily on the cloud we're in today, on the Oracle cloud, but also using the Oracle database as foundational elements, and those turn out to be very important things for making AI work.
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, I started the company with Larry Ellison. It was unlikely that I was going to go to him and say, I've found another database I'd rather use than Oracle. But serendipitously, not really, Oracle was the best solution and continues to be the best solution. And the innovation that happens at Oracle on the database is incredible. They, just like they retooled the Oracle database to be able to be the best database for the internet, they've been retooling the Oracle database to be the best database for AI. And it's a fantastic foundation on which for us to build the NetSuite Next vision.
Let's go back to about an hour and a half ago. You started your keynote talking about the pillars, the three pillars that NetSuite was built on, the suite, industry functionality, and the platform. How do these complement each other and then ultimately make NetSuite the perfect tool for businesses to really unlock that power of AI?
Yeah, and they really are complementary. You can have breadth and depth, I mean, but it just takes a while. And we've been doing it for 27 years. So, when we look at an industry, we look not only at the deep capabilities that it might need in finance, we look at all the adjacent capabilities that it'll need so it can sell effectively, so it can service customers effectively. So those two really do work together. And then finally, that last mile, which makes your business unique, even with in comparison to other businesses in your industry, that last mile is what the platform allows you to do. It builds on the breadth and depth that comes, out of the box with NetSuite and extends it to make sure that in all those areas of breadth and all those areas of depth, it's tailored to how you do business.
Well, you also mentioned sweetness, and sweetness as the harmony of this interplay between workflows and people and information. How does AI change or enliven sweetness, and how is that going to change things for customers?
Right, and it's incumbent upon us to help the AI understand how NetSuite works and give it lots of hints. Now, it can read a lot of information about NetSuite on the public internet, but we can give it even more information and more background on which to base its decisions. And a lot of that is going to be about how the different parts of NetSuite work together. I mean, some of our users don't even know that, and in some cases won't think about that. They have sales users using NetSuite, putting really important information for thinking about what the future is going to look like in your company. And yet, how do you collate that information and bring it into your financial forecast? And that's something that once AI is trained to understand the different pieces that NetSuite provides, it can bring it together and it can surface some of these connections, this sweetness that makes the system so powerful.
Yeah, I thought just not to interrupt, but that the integration of the ChatGPT shopping feature was a great illustration of how that can really bring such power.
Right. I mean, we can use ACP, the Agentic Commerce Protocol, to expose all this power that we have in NetSuite and all this information that's critical for doing effective e-commerce. I mean, that's what Suite Commerce is all about. We can expose that now to ChatGPT with very little work for your company, because it's all there. And suddenly you have this new sales channel.
Well, there's more even than that. You talk a lot about NetSuite Next, and so NetSuite Next, this is huge. What is NetSuite Next, and what does it mean for our customers, and how are they going to engage with it differently?
Well, I think the sort of dramatic new capabilities you saw me highlight in the keynote are the result of many years of work. And taking NetSuite and rebuilding it for the AI age is not an easy job. And it's because it's a very deep and broad system, and it has a very effective platform. And in every one of those ways, we're looking at retooling. We've been doing it for several years, and now we finally get to show our users, and we are building it in such a way that they can consume it easily. This is not they don't have to re-implement anything. It's really a natural upgrade like they're used to. They're used to waking up one morning and having new capabilities. Well, this may be a little bit more than they're used to. That's why we're letting people, adopt it sort of in a phased approach and giving people a preview for several months and getting feedback. And but ultimately, we're all going together across this chasm to an AI-centric world. And what does that mean? We don't know exactly yet, but we do know it's going to make your daily job easier. We're sure of that. And that's what NetSuite Next really is about. As I said in the keynote, it's about solving practical day-to-day problems that keep people from being as effective as they can be, both in using NetSuite and in running their business.
Is there a specific favorite new capability that you could mention or highlight to put some concrete element to it?
Yeah, well, there's a couple things that I really love. I mean, for me, maybe it's just my inherent laziness. I love the idea that I can just type or say, make this new record for me. Here's the fields I want you to fill out, and just ask me questions if there's something that's not clear, and then just do it. I love that idea. And so, and being able to do that in various different contexts, is super cool. I think that the insight that ultimately these the large language models can kind of glean from the analytics that we have in NetSuite are going to be incredible. And I'm, in running NetSuite and in running other businesses that I'm involved with that use NetSuite, I'm really, really excited about asking it deep questions. The types of things we talked about, like what are my best customers like, and what other customers are sort of like them, either new customers that I out in the world or other customers that I have, in my install base, and how can I serve them better? So those kinds of deep insights and making those connections, I think AI is going to get better and better at that, and we're going to be on the forefront of using that to help you run your business better. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, I think that idea that it is pervasive and contextually aware, and then little things like I can have a typo and it still knows what I want to do. My inherent laziness at the keyboard. But do you think about, to make it pervasive, I imagine you have to think about it from some sort of holistic standpoint rather than, okay, what would AI do here? What would AI, or maybe it's both.
No, I think you're exactly right. Yes, I think you can get lots of good ideas from sort of little point solutions within your product. I think AI could do that better, and we definitely want to think that way as we're extending the capabilities. But no, what we're trying to build, like with Ask Oracle, is a system that can be applied everywhere. So really thinking holistically. We have to, because NetSuite is a very broad system and has a ton of industry-specific functionality across different industries, and no one can kind of keep that all in their head except maybe AI. So we're just these components that we're using, like Ask Oracle, are made in a very generic way, so we can apply them all over the suite.
So in one of your announcements, you talked about dark mode, and that got a big applause from.
Yeah.
Why do you think such small, I'm going to call it small, design touches have such a big impact to get people excited?
Many of our users are using our product all day, every day. And so they appreciate those things that may be small, but that, for them using it so consistently, just make it a little bit better, a little bit more enjoyable, a little bit easier. And we're always going to keep trying to do that.
I heard your wife doesn't like dark mode.
Well, she's sometimes it's a little tough to see when we're in the car and it's sunny, and she's like, why don't you have it switch? And I'm like, well, because I think it looks cool.
Got it. All right. So we got that switch in there. That's great. You also talked about the AI connector service and MCP model context protocol. What ultimately do these unlock for our customers?
Yeah. I mean, the great thing about how we've approached NetSuite is always made it open to extensibility. We've always, built standards, using REST and using back in the day using XML and all using JavaScript, TypeScript. So we've really been focused on these sort of big open standards that everybody uses. So all these protocols that are coming along, they eat that up. The fact that we kind of have already exposed so much of NetSuite across, as I said, like sort of every corner of NetSuite, that makes it super easy for us to connect the right thing in to their new protocol. And there's going to be a lot of this stuff happening. I heard about a new one from OpenAI just today about working with agents. And, we have a team that just stays completely current on this stuff and brainstorms how can we quickly adapt. And that's why our MCP AI connector service came out so quickly. That's why the agentic commerce protocol support is going to come out quickly, because we're building on a very open platform that, we've been developing for 27 years.
And speaking of agents, what are some other kinds of things you can see our customers creating with this Suite agent capability that you announced?
Well, I mean, the first thing about it is that most of the things I will not anticipate. That's what, sort of our platform is all about. And I think if when we go and we visit customers and we go see how they use NetSuite, but when you see how they use NetSuite within the context of everything they're doing, sometimes they're doing a bunch of stuff in Excel, for example. AI is really good at doing some of those manipulations itself and pulling the results into NetSuite. So I think we got to look at, and we've surveyed our users asking, what do you most want to automate? But I think it is to some degree going to be personal, based on, kind of their workflows, how they integrate NetSuite within all of the resources that they use to run their business. And so, most of the uses I can't anticipate, but I'm really, really excited to see.
Well, let's switch to technology topics really quickly. You mentioned the Oracle AI database is coming next year to all of our customers. What do you think the Oracle initiative is going to offer to them that they're going to be able to see as a real benefit?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I think some of the things we're going to be able to do with semantic search and similarity search, from having your data instantly available in a vector database, which is a different way of sort of searching and analyzing your data than maybe comes from a relational database. Oracle AI database can seamlessly move back and forth. There's some things that obviously a relational database is still really great at. So I think what users will see is not necessarily the actual technology behind it, but they'll see the results in action. That not only can they get a great report about their customers' purchases, that might be coming out of relational data. They can also get suggestions of what types of products they may want to upsell to that company. That may come out of the vector data. And so it's really just better features to help them run their business better.
That sounds really exciting. Something else that was super exciting was you announced a partnership with Bill, one of the leading payment automation companies, and they've been in our ecosystem for a really long time. But why was right now the right time to launch this new partnership, and what is that going to lead to going forward?
Well, some of these things just take time. I mean, I've been working with Renee to kind of conceptualize this for a while, and I think we have a great, we already have thousands of mutual customers, so that's sort of a critical mass. We know that ultimately we're doing the right things by making these products work together. So that's sort of the, the background on which we decided to go to the next step. I think users are craving more and more intelligent automation. And that's what it's all about with AI, is taking those repetitive tasks, some of those complex tasks, and automating them in a smart way, so that they're not necessarily just exactly replacing what you did before, but actually bring something to the table. I mean, obviously someone that's paying bills does think about, oh, can I get an early payment discount? Or, oh, I better get these people paid. They're in a critical process of getting an order fulfilled for a customer. But it's impossible to see all those opportunities, right? There's just not enough time, and the data is, it's complex. So now with intelligent automation, you're going to be able to do that much more easily, but it's even going to do more than you probably could just by kind of trying to do it by hand. And so I think the capabilities that we're seeing from AI really make it incumbent on us to automate things even more than we ever did, but do it in a really smart way.
Speaking of smart things, I don't know, that's not a very good segue, but we're gonna put you in the hot seat for what we're calling the lightning suite.
Okay.
Some rapid fire. So I say lightning, these are rapid fire question and answers. Chris, put
All
them
right.
in the spotlight.
Are you ready for the lightning suite?
I better be.
All right. What's the first app that you check in the morning?
What's the first?
Not GitHub.
Well, obviously text, but I mean that doesn't really count. You want a better one than that. Well, I mean I'm interested in what's happening in the world, and so I check a certain news source, that I feel is reasonably accurate. They have an app. It's
Okay.
pretty cool.
All
So
right.
yeah, so that's one of the first things, because it's an exciting time in the world, let's say. And that's the context on which, we do everything sort of is that background. So it's good to have that background when you start. And then I check Slack.
Awesome. What's more nerve-wracking, a live keynote or debugging code at 2 a.m.?
Nerve-wracking?
Nerve-wracking.
Well, the worst would probably be if you're debugging code at 2 a.m. and you have a keynote at 8 a.m. So that'd be bad.
Both.
Yeah. I've been doing these keynotes for a while now. I think this is probably like 15 years or something like that. So I don't get too exercised by them. But, today, I have to say, we were presenting, I think, more significant capabilities than we've ever presented. So I guess maybe a little nervousness about making sure I do it justice, because what the team has built is absolutely incredible. And I'm just sort of the messenger to a large degree. I mean, I'm involved a little bit in the design, but I want to be a great messenger because we have a great message.
Well, we're biased, but I think you delivered a great message today. Very exciting. We did hear from others the same thing, lots of wows. So thank you for that, and thank you for joining us here today.
So happy to be here. Thanks for doing this and being here at SuiteWorld and helping everybody understand all the amazing things. I mean, it's so hard if you're going around SuiteWorld, you just can't do everything. So you guys giving a window into a lot of the things that are happening, I think is super helpful. So
Yeah,
thanks
it's
to you.
been fun. It's been fun. And on behalf of my co-host, Chris Bloom, I am Fritz Nelson. This has been the NetSuite Podcast, SuiteWorld Edition. Thanks for tuning in.